Alright, Math 1s, let's do some more of these inequalities. So, we've got 2, and notice here we've got the word or, and we'll see what that or tells us about what our answer looks like. So the first one, negative 5a, is greater than or equal to negative 25. So to separate the negative 5 from the a, since it's multiplied, we do the opposite. We divide by both sides. That becomes 1, so we're left with a. Now, since we're multiplying by a negative number here on the bottom, or dividing, I should say, not multiplying, we have to take the inequality symbol and flip it to the other side. So negative 25 divided by negative 5 gives us a positive 5. So, 1/2 of it is a is less than or equal to 5, so we go at 5. It's less than or equal to, so we draw a filled-in circle. A is less than it, so we shade to the left. Okay, then we do our other inequality. So a minus 10 is greater than or equal to negative 2. So in this one, we're going to add 10 to both sides. That becomes 0. We get a is greater than or equal to positive 8, because negative 2 plus 10 is 8. So we go to 8, draw another filled-in circle, because it's equal to. A is bigger, so we shade to the right. So when we're dealing with our ors, notice that it's split. We're not shading in between. We are shading out either way. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at number 18 now. So same idea, a minus 8 is greater than negative 8. We add 8 to both sides. We get a is greater than 0. For the other one, a minus 1 is less than negative 6. Add 1 to both sides. We get a is less than negative 5. So at 0, we draw a hollow circle. A is greater, so we shade to the right. A is less than negative 5, so at negative 5, another hollow circle, and a is less, so we shade to the left. And there's our other graph. Alright, 19 and 20. So these, notice, are ors as well. So, same idea. Now remember that fraction can kind of scare us, but it's just x divided by 2, so the opposite is multiplying by 2. So that becomes x is greater than 8. And 8x is less than or equal to 0. Divide by 8 on both sides, and we get x is less than or equal to 0. So at 8, a hollow circle, x is greater, so it's bigger, shade to the right. X is less than or equal to 0, so at 0, a filled-in circle, x is smaller, so we shade to the left. On 20, we've got n plus 5 is less than or equal to 2. So we subtract 5 on both sides, giving us n is less than or equal to negative 3. So negative 3, draw a filled-in circle because it's equal to. N is smaller because it's less than. And n divided by 10 is greater than 1. We times both sides by 10, giving us n is greater than 10. So 10, a hollow circle, and we shade above because it's bigger. Alright, 21. We've got n plus 8 is less than 8. Subtract 8 from both sides. N is less than 0. Hollow circle at 0. N is less, so we shade to the left. Negative 3 plus n is greater than 6. It's negative 3, so we add 3 to both sides, giving us n is greater than 9. So at 9, another hollow circle, n is bigger, so we shade to the right. For 22, we go x minus 3 is less than negative 7, or x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. So we add 3 on this one, giving us x is less than negative 4. We subtract 2 on this one, giving us x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So at negative 4, a hollow circle, x is smaller, shade to the left. X is greater than negative 2, filled in circle at negative 2, and we shade to the right. Okay, so we just treat each inequality separately, do the inverse operation to get the variable by itself, and then just shade on the graph. So, 23. 4 plus n is less than or equal to negative 2, or n divided by 2 is greater than or equal to 4. So 4 plus n we would subtract by 4 on both sides, giving us n is less than or equal to negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. So negative 6, draw a filled in circle because it's equal to, n is less than, shade to the left. And divided by 2 is greater than or equal to 4, we would times by 2. That would become 1, so we get n is greater than or equal to 8. So at 8, draw a filled in circle because it's equal to, n is greater, so it's bigger, shade to the right. On 24, we've got negative 5p is greater than or equal to 30. Divide by negative 5. So p, now because we divided by negative 5, I take the inequality and I rearrange it, reverse it. 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. So p is less than negative 6 or equal to it, so draw a filled in circle, shade to the left. Then we've got negative 6p is less than negative 24. So divide by negative 6. And we get p is, now because we divided by negative 6, we make it greater, not less than, and it's a positive 4. So hollow circle positive 4 because there's no equal to, p is greater, shade to the right. Okay. 25. So 8 minus 3n is less than 5, or 2n minus 6 is less than negative 8. So now we've got a couple of steps that we have to do, but just remember, we take a look at each one, and we do the furthest away from the n, or the opposite of the order of operations. So instead of multiplying, or dividing in this case first, we're going to deal with addition or subtraction. So it's a positive 8, so I subtract an 8 from both sides. So I have a negative 3n is less than 5 minus 8, which is negative 3. Divide by a negative 3, and I get n, because I divided by a negative 3, I reverse the inequality, so n is greater than 1. So 1, draw a hollow circle, and I shade to the right, because n is bigger. Okay, 2n minus 6, so I start off by adding the 6 to both sides to get 2n is less than negative 2. Divide by 2, we get n is less than negative 1. So negative 1, a hollow circle, and then we shade to the left. 26, we've got 10k minus 7 is less than 3. So I'd add 7 to both sides, giving us 10k is less than 10. Divide by 10, we get k is less than 1. So 1, I draw a hollow circle, k is less than, so I shade to the left. Okay. Then I get negative k plus 6 is less than or equal to 12. So we subtract 6 from both sides, giving us negative k is less than or equal to 6. Then we divide by a negative 1, because when the negative k, it's like it's negative 1. That becomes 1, and I get k is greater than or equal to negative 6. So I go to negative 6, filled in circle, it's greater than. So because we have an and here, it's conjoined, whereas the or is opposites. So 27, negative 69 is less than or equal to 7x minus 6 is less than or equal to negative 62. Now when we have these where it's just combined and they're all together in one inequality, it's usually like the ands, but instead of being separate, it's just conjoined. So the idea is, like we have this inequality and this inequality, but we can just treat them all the same. So to get x by itself, I would add 6, and then I add 6 to both the right and the left. Because we have these two, essentially, answers on the right and left, we apply it to all of them. So negative 69 plus 6 is negative 63, is less than or equal to 7x, because that became 0, is less than or equal to negative 62 plus 6 would be a negative 56. Divide everything by 7, and we get negative 9 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to negative 8. So, at negative 8 we have a filled in circle. At negative 9 we have a filled in circle. X is bigger than 9 but smaller than 8, so we shade in between. And it's just that small section right there. Okay, 28, we've got negative 22 is less than 6m plus 8. It's less than or equal to 20. Subtract 8 from everything. We get negative 30 is less than 6m is less than or equal to positive 12. Divide everything by 6, and we get negative 5 is less than m is less than 2. So hollow circles at negative 5 and a positive 2. M is bigger than negative 5, but smaller than 2, so we shade in between. Alright, number 29, we got 4v minus 1 is greater than or equal to 15, so add 1 first. 4v is greater than or equal to 16, divide by 4, and we get v is greater than or equal to 4. So 4, filled in circle because it's equal to, v is greater, shade to the right. 3v minus 5 is less than negative 17. Add 5 first to both sides. 3v is less than negative 12. Divide by 3, and v is less than negative 4. So negative 4, hollow circle, because there's no equal to. V is smaller, shade to the left. On number 30, now we have an and. So we add 4 to both sides, giving us 4x is greater than or equal to 4. Divide by 4, and x is greater than or equal to 1. So filled in circle at 1, x is bigger, shade to the right. Then we get negative 7 plus 4x is less than 25. Add 7 to both sides. We have 4x is less than 32. Divide by 4, and x is less than 8. So hollow circle at 8, shading to the left, so we're shading in between. Alright, now the last two in this video. So negative 67 is less than 9a plus 5 is less than or equal to negative 40. Subtract 5 from everything, and we get a negative 72 is less than 9a is less than or equal to negative 45. Divide by 9, and we get negative 8 is less than a is less than or equal to negative 5. So hollow circle at negative 8, filled in circle at negative 5. A is greater than 8 but less than 5, shade in between. And finally, for this one, x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 7. Subtract 3. X is greater than or equal to 4. So filled in circle at 4, x is bigger, shade to the right. Then negative 4x plus 7 is greater than 43. So we subtract 7 from both sides. Negative 4x is greater than 36. Divide by negative 4. Because we divided by a negative, x is now less than instead of greater than, because we flip our inequality. 36 divided by negative 4 is negative 9. So negative 9, a hollow circle, x is less than, so we shade to the left. And there we go with all those examples, guys. So, good job.